They knew when they were going to wash their hair, they were going to have clumps of it in their hand. And that was triggering.
To say hair loss hit a nerve is an understatement.
Mm, big time. We
Yeah.
posted in our Transform Facebook group and we got hundreds and hundreds of responses about this. And it really goes to show you just how important of an issue this is for people because
Yeah.
our hair, it really is an emotional issue for people.
Dr. Jason and I were actually talking with some of our clients on Monday, and that was one of the things we talked about was it's so much more than hair loss. It sounds like it's going to be a video or a training or a conversation about a medical symptom of hair loss, which most people think is as an aesthetic issue, right? But at the same time, it really our
Yeah.
identity has a lot to do with hair. So when you think about hair as part of being feminine, your femininity, when you think about hair being masculinity, when you think about hair as in your general identity, how many of you guys out there, your hair, whatever the style is, do different times of your life is a huge part of your personal identity. I would love to hear about that. How much has your hair been a part of your identity, right?
Well, it's true. And when I've talked to other alumni who were struggling with, let's say, pain and some other really debilitating physical problems, they have told me that some of the most troubling symptoms they experienced was the hair loss because they would dread and they would have almost trauma when they would, let's say, get in the shower because they knew when they were going to wash their hair, they were going to have clumps of it in their hand. And that was triggering. I mean, that is true
Mm,
triggering. And to
that's
compare that to physical symptoms sometimes can be even more troublesome for people.
well, when you think about all the different types of disease symptom states, autoimmune disease, POTS, mast cell, when you look at all these different things that we deal with, people are having trouble mobility, pain, right? Severe allergies, severe autoimmunity. You wouldn't think seeing hair down the drain would be the top thing on their list, but
Yeah.
it is. And even on Monday, when Dr. Jason and I was talking to one of the clients we were working with, she said seeing the hair go down the drain is incredibly triggering. And I asked, I was like, what does it mean? She says, it means death.
Mm.
Right. So this is not a small deal. This is a big deal. And it's a very nuanced conversation. There's a lot to hair, what's underlying the causes of it. But again, having losing hair for people for some people is a daily triggering trauma.
It is, whether it's coming out as you're brushing your hair or whether it's coming out when you're in the shower, it absolutely impacts our self-esteem.
Mhm.
And that can go a long way in how we, can or cannot heal ourselves if we're not feeling happy and okay with ourselves.
Hi, I'm Maggie Yu, MD, and I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician and the creator of the Transform and Transform protocol. If you're interested in learning what are the root causes of all chronic disease, go ahead and click the link in the description where I have a power pack 30-minute training that goes over what are the 5 pillars of Transform. Go ahead, click the link, and I'll see you in that training. Well, the other piece of this is that how often is hair loss as a symptom dismissed by the medical establishment?
Right. Does it
I would love everybody in chat right now. Every person watching, go to your keyboard, tell me what's the dumbest advice or response you've ever heard that you've received about hair loss, your hair loss or anyone else's.
what
And
kinds of
type it
negative
in chat.
complaints tell you about that? What are they saying when they're coming to you after having so many frustrating experiences? Give us an example maybe of somebody he's probably been to many doctors about their health problems and hair loss is one of their symptoms and yet they're talking to you about it.
So yeah, a really classic example, for example, like post long haul, post the big C and getting long haul, that particular issue, I mean, that's a severe hair loss. And yet, because of the long list of symptoms associated with it, that's considered the least of the problems. But when I talk to people, that's the first thing they talk about, right? That's one instance. And then another one would be, what about after you delivered a baby? How many of you, after you
Mhm.
delivered the baby, had a ton of hair loss? And because of all the stuff going on with baby and with your own other health issues, that became a big deal. But that gets put on the back burner, and it's completely dismissed because labs might be normal, or we're dealing with the psychological issues associated with your postpartum issues, ma'am.
It's
Yeah.
so true. And we're getting a lot of responses of people saying that their doctor said things to them like, it's not that bad, Or several people said things like this, well, you're getting older or you're at that age. And even a dermatologist is trying to interject and say that they know anything about hormones here. A dermatologist told me to stop taking progesterone. So they're just getting advice that perhaps is unhelpful at the very best, or being diminished in their feelings at the
Chris-
worst.
And Kristen's saying, I mean, the level of medical ignorance and gaslighting in the medical community is astounding, which is why I can't wait to bring on our other experts here today. We're going to bring on Dr. Jason Bradley and we're going to bring on Kathy Ryan.
Yeah, it's thanks for having me. I'm so excited about this. First of all, this hits really home. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've lost a little bit here. I'm gonna out myself right now, and it
You
really,
said it, brother. I didn't say
hey,
it.
I hear you.
And I'm Kathy Ryan. I'm a functional and holistic nutritionist and a certified transform instructor. And I have to say, everything that you were just saying about hair and identity resonates so much. I grew up
Yeah.
in the 80s and I had big, long spiral hair. Like I would get spiral permed hair down to my waist. And then I had bangs that were about this high, right? We all remember the big 80s hair.
I want to see
Oh, yeah.
And
pictures.
it
Stop
was
dating yourself. No, I don't know what the
one of
80s
these
were.
days. One of these days, we'll get you some pictures. But yeah, that was a huge part of my identity for sure, for sure. So when I started losing hair, it was traumatic. It really was.
We know from a root cause medicine standpoint that there are real medical reasons behind it that are pretty complex.
Well, and that's what really irks me too, is that it's so many providers just dismiss this. I mean, literally, like you already said it, but they dismiss it. It's not important. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's genetics. There's nothing you can do about it, and let's get over it. And you know, take your psych meds. That's what goes on behind the scenes.
Listen, there's so many different reasons why your hair is falling out, and it's a process of elimination. So you have to run the gamut and look at all of these different factors, and you will find the solution. If the first solution isn't the one for you, if it's not your iron, then we move on to something else, and we move on to something else until we figure out what the solution is, and there is a solution.
We talked about a lot of hidden causes of hair loss as well. And I think that it's important to work with a team that knows, what those causes can be and help you investigate. Just like Kathy was saying, there's so many potential causes here that, we have to just systematically go through and figure out what the heck is going on. So again, make no assumptions, go in open and let's figure it out.
Hi, and thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in actively looking for a solution to your problem and you'd like to work with us, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and click the link in the description to book a chat with our team. I and my team look forward to talking to you to learn more about you to see if we are indeed a good fit to work together. Thank you.